This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. First, let's see yesterday's one. I think that issue is like it was a stupid one. I managed to fix it. Okay. So the mistake yesterday, what we did was when we assigned the structures, right? We were referring to the wrong field. That was the mistake. So okay, first let's go to the characteristic. So here basic data, it's all fine. After giving basic data, you should come directly to additional data and give the structure, not the table, source table, EKKO. This is the structure that is referring to the release strategies catalog fields. So in this field, you have to refer to the EKO origin. Initially, we were giving EKKO, which was causing an issue. So it was not referring to that PO field at all. This is the communication structure for the release strategy. If you go to CKO and display, this will display clearly. This is the communication strategy, release structure for the release strategy determination. So since we had used EKKO, that was never getting determined at all. And similarly, for value, you should also give CKKO GNetW. No, that is the correct field. And after giving additional data only, you have to come and give the values. Okay. Is that clear? So first basic data you need to fill. In the additional data, you have to fill this structure, and in that the value needs to be filled. And after that, you have to give the values. So now having said that, then you have to, rest everything is same. We didn't make any mistake. So under class, you can go. Okay. 032. I have given this new two characteristics. Okay. And go to release procedure, release groups, same thing. KL release group, I've assigned the new release class. Then release code, same 21, 22, 23. Then you can come to release strategies, same 21, 22. What is the prerequisite? And release status is once everyone is released, it's completely released. Classification is on this purchasing organization, and for this value, the release strategy should trigger. Correct? So now, if we create a PO /NME21N, okay, 999, 99, okay. Site is ZTC 1000. So what's the value that it is getting determined? 990, correct? So now I save this. So 120, okay. /NME23N. So there is no release strategy getting triggered. Clear?
Yep.
So now I can go and do my go and invert the stock. It is not at all a problem. Okay, it is done. Okay, stock is inverted. Similarly, I gave ME21 yen. I give 100 quantities. Okay, ZT 1000. Now also the strategy should not get triggered, correct? Because
Yep. Greater
we
than
have
100, 1000.
1000, 121. Clear? Now also strategy will get kicked in. Okay, we can go and do my go. That's not a problem. Okay, but now on the same case, I'm ordering 101 quantities. Okay, now what happens? The value goes above 10,000, correct? Now the release strategy should kick in. Okay, 1 to 2. Okay, now the release strategy has kicked in. Now if I go and do MiGo, what happens? You see, system will not allow. System will issue a warning message that this cannot be inverted. See, it says clearly purchasing document is not yet released. So you need to release that. So in order to release that, you can go to ME29 yen. Okay, what is ours? 122, right? 122. Go to release strategy. Click on release. Click on release. Now even if I save this, okay, I go back to MiGo, system will not allow me to invert because only 2 people have released, right?
Yeah.
See, not yet released. But if I go to release strategy and click on release, then save it. Go to MiGo. Now system will allow me to do the GR. So that's how the release strategies can be kicked in. So in real time, this actually no one will go to ME29 yen and do a release. Instead, they will configure workflow. So when I say workflow, how it will happen is like for each one's email inbox, it might go, okay, or for them in real time, here you will have a SO01 SAP inbox you have inside this set. Here they will get a notification. So there are many ways to configure it. Okay, so here you can get an inbox message so that release is pending with you. Similar kind of a workflow can be triggered to inbox, to your email. With this modern technologies like Fiori and all those stuff, you can directly log into Fiori applications and just approve, right? So that way it will do. So this is like ME29N is very conventional method. Like it's very damn old method. Okay.
Okay.
So for workflow, I think so remember this. Here you have workflow. So there will be a workflow object assigned here. So if workflow is there, role resolution with group and site. So role resolution via user exit. So the developers will create a workflow on this. If workflow is assigned, then you can assign. So based on this, for these codes, these people will get the inbox messages. I mean the messages in their inbox. and they can act accordingly.
Okay.
And this is the workflow configuration. So this is basically for what do I say? ABAPers will do it. So that is it with the release strategy. So is it you have any doubts here, or should I proceed ahead?
No, we can proceed. This was easy.
Yeah. The only thing that you need to note is when you create a release characteristic, two things you have to keep in mind. That release characteristic should be of, if suppose in case you don't want to use this characteristic in any of the other places, like characteristic, like when you use the merchandise category and hierarchy, you can put a restriction here, 032, meaning hereafter this characteristic will not be used anywhere unless and until only in the release strategy places it will be used. That you can do. And similarly, when you create characteristic, you have to keep that in mind. You have to use the communication structure of release strategy, which is CEKKO. Then only it will get determined. Even if you use EKKO, that will not get determined. Okay, so you should use CEKKO, which is the header. Okay.
Okay.
Once that is done, then the rest of the steps is very clear. So you have to create a release class and assign that release characteristics into the class. Then you have to go to the release strategy determination, and in that you have to give the prerequisites. Then you need to determine at what release code they should be determined. Then you have to come to the prerequisites and determine this one only I'm talking about. So release group you have given, okay. Then release codes you have defined. Then you come to release strategy and you define what is the prerequisite. Who should approve first? Who should approve next? Release status will determine when the release, release process is actually completed. In classification, you define what are the values that should be looked upon to trigger the release process. This is pretty straightforward. Okay. Okay. Now, if that is clear, then so we have seen the entire procurement process. Like we have created a PO, we have received a stock to DC, we have received the stock to store, and when we receive PO to, when we raise a PO, we have also seen the release mechanisms which can be utilized. And while transferring the stocks, that is like from DC to store or from PO to DC, when you receive, how can you handle the structured articles which is within retail process? That also I have shown you, right? So the entire process of procure to pay is done. Okay, now what we will see is the really retail pricing. You will see, okay, how to price. What is it? It is different. Like I have shown you that purchase price determination, right? Like and how to create a purchase info records. And see, ME11 is for purchase info records. Same thing you can use to create MEK1 as well, right? Purchase conditions, including everything, freight and everything. But this is only PB00 conditions, correct?
Yep.
Whereas for sales, you can use VK11 to create sales price condition records, which is in standard R3. But in retail, we don't normally use VK11, but we have a more flexible method of having VKP5 transaction, okay, where we can create sales price for bulk articles on one single shot and all those stuffs. So retail method of sales price creation. Okay, so this is what we are going to see, how it is going to be different and how it is going to be more beneficial. But actually in real time, no one is using VKP5. Very rare customers are using, because they just merchandisers come with the retail price, right? So they just upload it in Excel or Yeah, that's how they do it.
Okay.
Okay. So retail pricing is like, in retail we have too many products, and probably the the companies must, or the merchandisers must know what is the beneficial retail price that needs to be fixed for the customer. So are they, by fixing this, because in retail you run a lot of promotions as well, right? And unlike wholesale, we often run the very frequent promotion campaigns and all those stuff. So at any point in time, you should be damn sure that you're not losing your margins. So it is very necessary that the merchandisers have a visual display of what is happening at their back end when they fix this retail price, and if that is anyway complicating their margins, right? So with this conventional method of fixing the retail condition records, those things are not possible. So that is why in retail we have an advanced method or visual structure to give the merchandisers and all other people who are involved in this business a visual treat of what is happening when they fix this retail price, what happens to their margin, what happens to the, and so on and so forth. Okay. So benefit is like they can boost their margin, sales, and the success of a company. You can test new products with different retail prices and with different margins. Maintain prices in accordance to the market situations, like what the competitor is fixing, right? At a site level, they can change site. I mean, group of sites, they can group into one site group and fix prices at that level. Price point is like very simple. It is like that method of pricing, like 99.99, and those kind of psychological pricing you can do and all those stuffs. So with this transaction, you can create retail price for all the different articles. Price, you can maintain prices at different levels, site level, group of sites, distribution chain level, distribution chain and site level, any level you can maintain. Okay, and price with price points. So as I said, when the this is purchase order, when the vendor is being sought out, I mean when the vendor is reached out to supply certain products, we actually raise a legal document called purchase order, with which he takes that as the basis for his delivery, and he delivers the items of which is ordered. So the calculation schema determination is, as we saw, it is like based on the purchasing organization schema group and the vendor schema group, the calculation schema is determined. So these things I think we have seen already. Now, once the stock has reached our place or premises, now it is up to us to determine what should be the sales price that we should keep in order to sell to the customer. So when you determine a sales price, what are the different conditions that you will normally take into account? Any idea?
When you determine the sales price.
Yes.
Not sure.
Actually, you have bought it for a certain price, correct? So that is your cost. Then, in order to bring that item to the final selling place, that is to your store or anything, you might have incurred additional expenses like transportation cost, freight cost, right? And obviously, you need to include you need to pass on the input VAT to the, I mean, you have paid some input VAT to the vendor, right? You will pass on that VAT to the customer. You will need to add the tax. So basically, what is happening? Cost plus tax plus freight, anything, any freight or surcharge, freight or surcharges, anything you will add it. Okay, that will be your landing cost. That will be your landing cost, right? With that, you will keep some additional benefit. That is the markup, 10% or 5%. which is a margin for you, correct? That is how you will arrive at the sales price normally,
Right.
correct? So you will actually put all the costs that you have incurred and you will arrive at a landing cost, and that landing cost plus your markup or your margin, that will be a normal sales price in any aspect, right? In any of the industry, that's how they do it. So that is what. So from purchase price, you do a planned or an actual markup to arrive at a sales price, including all your cost incurring factors. So when you determine how, say for instance, your DC is at Mumbai and your store is also at Mumbai. So the transportation cost is not going to be a lot, right? And you will not have any freight charges or anything as such. Like while you transport, you incur certain charges, right? Surcharges that you don't have it. But consider or imagine that your DC is at Mumbai and your store is at something like Chennai or somewhere or other. So you will have to bring the stock all the way from Mumbai to Chennai, incurring a lot of surcharges. So this is the same product, but it has two different costs, correct? When it comes to Mumbai stores and the Chennai stores. But in retail, you will normally have a uniform method of pricing, correct? The RRP will never change. The retail price will never get changed, right? So in that sense, you can do two things. You can adjust your margin accordingly, that your cost, landing cost is also covered in that. So you can keep a uniform markup and keep a uniform retail price, or you can have a variable prices. Like this will happen in most cases of perishable items, because in most cases you order it based on the not from a central DC, but you order it from a local vendors, right? So and their prices keep on changing based on the demand on the supply. So in that sense, the retail price will have to be altered every now and then based on the cost that you incur, right? So for those distance, for all these, as taking that all aspects into consideration, you fix the prices. You can have a per distribution chain, you can have a different price. Like retail, you keep the items in your retail stores, right? So you incur an additional cost of maintenance of stores and electricity charges, holding cost and all those stuff. But whereas in retail, you don't have those incurs. You keep it directly in DC, and that is not going to have any additional expenses. So it has to be two different prices. That is why if you take it, if you order items certainly in the online, you have a different price, and in retail you have a different price. So in any aspects, you can bring those into this umbrella. So you can fix a different retail price per distribution chain, per store, per merchandise category, anything for that matter. Okay.
Okay.
So you can, when you select an article for retail price, you can select article at individual level, all articles under merchandise category, all articles supplied by that vendor or vendor sub-range, or all articles belonging to a CSET. So when you select anything based on this, all the articles will be brought, and then a combination of this organization levels, you can fix the price. This article at this distribution chain, or article plus distribution plus this site, or all articles under merchandise category for this site, any combinations, permutations and combinations, you can fix the retail price. You get it?
Yep.
So this is nothing but you are maintaining conditions based on different access sequence. You can relate it now, right? In access sequence, we were creating condition tables only on these levels. But now, instead of configuration, this is giving at the master data level itself.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
So when you determine, when you wanted to create a sales price, automatically you need to determine what is the purchase price for that, right? In order to determine the purchase price, you can use the standard calculation schema, like what you use it in your standard purchasing side. Or you can give input vendor in your surrounding places, what is your vendor's prices manually, and you can arrive at a mixed price. And for sales set, normally you create it at the store level, right? So it has never been procured, so it will never have a purchase price. So automatically, if you want to arrive a purchase price for that article, you should actually sum up the components of a sales set. That will bring you the procurement price of the sales set, correct?
Yep.
So that you can use it here, or you can manually enter whatever price you wanted, or you can have a different function models or user exits to give a different prices, or you can use a custom calculation schema. Any options you can use it to arrive at a purchase price. Similarly, to determine the sales price, you can use a planned markup, or you can manually give the sales price what you want to determine. Based on that, the margin will be backpacked. Okay, or your procurement price is 100, you just wanted to increase on a percentage basis, 10% markup will increase on this cost will be my sales price. So you can do that, or absolute sales price also you can give. So 100 rupees is my, you give add 10 rupees to that article, so 110 will be my sales price. That is also possible. Okay, or you can adjust margin and determine the sales price. So any possible combinations is possible. So how the retail sales price is calculated is like, when the calculation schema which is in standard that is used is WWS 001. In this place, this calculation schema will contain the basic cost price, that is EKNN, and with that you can add markup and you can add tax, then you can arrive at the sales price. So when you determine, this is called the retail sales price grid screen, which I will show you. So normally when you give an article and you select an article and you execute, first the purchase price will be determined here. Okay, based on the purchase determination sequence, whether you manually enter it or it is determined from the standard calculation schema, procurement calculation schema, or whatever, or components of a sales set, whatever it is. Based on that, the whatever sequence that you are giving in the initial screen, based on that the purchase price will be determined. After that, the sales price net will be calculated by adding the markup. Okay, markup and tax. Okay, no, not tax, only markup. Okay, and gross value is determined by adding net price, net sales price plus tax. Okay, and that gross sales price would be the final sales price. Don't worry, it might, is it confusing or clear?
No, it is clear.
Okay, so once that sales price is created, it has to save in a database, correct? That needs to be saved in a purchase price condition, correct? That is one, that is why when you sell it, that condition will be picked up. So that condition in which it is getting sold is, stored is VKP0. In that condition type, it will be stored. So this is the standard retail price condition type. Like PB000 for purchase, VKP0 is for sales. Clear?
Yep.
So this is what I was talking, one step and two step. Like one step is nothing but when you transfer the item to the store, there are no additional cost incurred. Whatever purchase price that you are incurring from vendor to DC, that would be your standard procurement price. Whereas when you do a two-step calculation, meaning vendor to DC, there is a price, and when you transfer the DC to store, there is an additional cost incurred, which is called, it can be a transfer cost or anything as such. So you actually add, there is a one step of transfer of price, and when it comes to the store, the purchasing cost goes up rather than DC. That is called the two-step calculation. So site price list is something that you can group different sites into one group, and you can price common retail price for that group of stores. Okay, this is the site price list example. Okay, this is what for sales set I said. So for sales set is something, that article that is created at the stores level. So you will not have a purchase site price. So at that point in time, you have to use the purchase price determination type as E and requirement as 1. So in that sense, when you create when you want to create a sales price for a sales set, automatically when you give this purchase price determination sequence, the purchase price is picked up from the two components or the components of that sales set and summed up. Okay. This is what in sales set. So now for this we will see it in the system. So this is a screen Here you so you can select articles. Okay. So you can select articles based on merchandise category, vendor, season, year, or individual articles. And you can price it based at the distribution chain level or site group level, site level in any combinations. So for instance, in our case, I'm selecting this article, ZK01, right? ZR is our retail. So now here you have purchase price determination sequence and sales price determination sequence. This is where we have should be used standard or sales set or anything as such. So I'm using standard price. And similarly for sales price, I'm saying calculate sales price from a planned markup. The moment I do it, here you have something called a list group and list variant. So this is something the configurations in which I'll show you. Just before that, I'll show you. This is something. Okay. So this is called the list group. What is that? I'm keeping article as standard, static, and I'm fixing prices at different organization levels. This is one distribution chain. I can have multiple distribution chains as well, right? ZR, ZO, right?
Yeah, ZO, ZI.
Okay. For multiple distribution chains, I can fix a different retail price here. Whereas if I change this group, I'm going to keep org level as static and article as the dynamic. So in that sense, what will happen for this sales organization, for this article, what is the price? Then I will change it like this. For retail and for online, I can fix this. This is just a layout design. Okay. And in this list variant will determine what are the fields that should come in this table. Here, if you see vendor is there and his currency, what is the base cost, net cost, markup, planned markup, retail sales price, final sales price, what is the margin that is coming up. Okay, so if I don't need all these fields, I just need vendor, cost, markup percentage, retail sales price, then I can do the necessary configuration on this list variant. You get it?
Okay.
That's the combination. So you understand this, you understood this, right? So now I'll show you the configuration, then I'll come back to the screen. Okay. Under logistic general, retail pricing, sales price calculation. First thing, what you need to do is you have to maintain a pricing type. What does this pricing type means? See. ZKR1, okay. So when I use this pricing type, what calculation schema it should use and what currency it should use, everything can be determined here. Okay. Then what I will do is I will assign this pricing type to my sales organization, assign pricing type to sales organization level. So what happens now, whenever I inventories. Ours is ZK01, right? Distribution channel is ZR. Pricing type is ZK
R1.
R1. What is the reference site that it can take is our store Z
ST1.
ST1. Okay. So whenever I use this sales organization and distribution channel, system will use this pricing type and refer what is the calculation schema assigned in that. Based on that, my retail sales price will be determined. Okay. So for, as I said in the beginning, I can have one-step pricing, two-step pricing, and all those stuff, right? So in that calculation schema, I can define those things, add a transfer cost and all those stuff. You're getting it, what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
So here V/08. This is the procedure which we used, right? in the our this thing. So here it contains, this is the standard price, and this for this it is adding markup percentage. Okay, then it is adding sales cost, it is determining, then it is rounding off, then it is adding tax, and finally gross is calculating. Suppose you wanted to add a transportation surcharges and all, you can add it in between the condition records. I mean, in this level, it is just the calculation schema calculate price. I mean, fixing of the how we wanted to arrive at the sales price. That is done in the sales calculation schema, and this is given in this pricing tab. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
So now we have given these things. Now, as I said, purchase price determination sequence and all those stuff. Here you are giving, right? These are all configurations. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All these things are here. Okay. So for instance, if I'm using standard calculation schema, it will use RMISR 0. Okay. So source type is source determination should be determined. What should be the purchase price for this article? How the from where I should determine. If I use a store, our supply source is DC, right? For we are not getting directly stock from what is that vendor. So vendor is for supplying to the DC, and DC is supplying to the store. So that you can define it here /mm43. Okay, 1005 ZST1. You remember during the initial stages we have defined supply source. This is based on this only it will determine. 2 means stock transfer. So stock transfer is something that we are supplying from the DC. Okay, and similarly for sales set, if you look at it, first it will try to find it based on the standard schema. So nothing will be there, right? Because we have not procured that item at all from the external vendors or the DCs. Now system will say, next it will go to no source determination. Here it will see purchase price determination from article components. So this will be determined based on this ABAP code 1. If you look at this, there will be a code written on this. Okay. Check if article type is equivalent to pre-pack, or I mean sales set. If it is sales set, then pick the articles from the components. That's what it is doing it. Okay.
Okay.
And similarly for sales price also you have the same sequences in the background configuration. Okay. So suppose in case you want to use a custom calculation schema, then you have to go and define what calculation schema you want to give it there. Now let's come to this text for list fields. So here we are not.
We've added a distribution channel.
No, I know what is the mistake. Okay. Now, whatever it is coming here, right? Vendor, document currency, base cost, this short name descriptions are all coming from here. See, for EKNN, it is defined as base cost. Okay. This is net cost, base cost. If I want to change the descriptions, I can change it here. It is just used for that. Okay. So each field, this is called a field. Okay, the entire stuff is called list variant. Okay. Then I go back, then I'm going to define the list variant. So list variant is like, when I select this list variant 01, these are the fields that I should get it. That's what it is. It means, suppose I don't want everything, I can remove it. I can copy this Z1 Krunal. Okay, retail list variant. Let's take this, and for this, copy all. Okay, now I'm saying, okay, for this I don't want everything. So for instance, here net cost I'm not bringing at all, right? Say for instance, here I don't want document currency. I don't want. Okay, I will just to remove that. Okay, this also I don't want. Then save it. Okay, now when I save this automatically, whatever value that is coming from final sales price is automatically going and saving in a condition type. How is that happening? And similarly, when I enter, automatically the base cost is also bringing up. Correct? How is that bringing? Based on the purchase determination. For that, what we need to do, we have to assign behind that each field a value. So for that will be determined based on here condition data for this. Here on WWS 001, when I use EKPNN, this should bring from the subtotal of EKNN, which is this one. Correct? From this, it should bring it up. So this, for this list field, this is the subtotal. So this is nothing but it's the purchase price determination, right? /m/08. Ours is RM ISR0, right? RM ISR0. Here, where is the net price calculator? Here it is. This is the net price.
Okay.
Now I think they have changed this configurations and calculation schema. Actually, this is the subtotal in which here they are saying, right? Normally, it should be stored here. It should be subtotal should be 1. They have assigned 42. So that is what it is taking. K is at IW1. You remember this one? So whatever value that is stored in this is the net value, and that is what we are referring here. But for here, the calculation schema is something they have modified. Okay. And similarly, when it goes to this final sales price, so here and all, if you see, nothing will be there. So it will go to the standard retail price of VKP0. In case of it is a promotion price, it will go to VKA0. You're getting it?
Mm-hmm.
This end PR is nothing but end PR is nothing but your final price, which is here. This one, final sale. Whatever your whatever value that is calculated here, that will go and store into the VKP0 condition type. Clear?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it is a bit complicated. Pricing itself is a big vast topic. So I'm just giving you a gist of it. So as you proceed ahead, you will come to know more. So now for this, it comes from the subtotal K is at I2. Okay. So now what we can do is, I'll give okay. Now only the one is which is limited that will come. So base cost, it didn't bring it up. So that is why the base cost is not coming. The wrong subtotal they have assigned. Ideally, let's do it this way. Now the cost is coming correctly. See. This is our purchasing cost, right? 10 rupees.
Yeah.
So now I can say markup percentage is 10%. Automatically the sales price has gone. Oh, 10% I gave, it has gone to 10,000. Okay, 11 rupees. That is the cost. And similarly for store also, it will be 10%. Okay. So gross margin which I'm getting is this much. So you can define it. Or if you want to fix gross margin as 20%, accordingly the price will be adjusted in the final sales price. So whichever way you want, you can play. So this is what it gives you a benefit of this, nothing much. So you have to click on this and say, for instance, you click on sales, what sales price is getting determined, everything you can see here. Our WWS 001. And similarly for procurement, it will pick the RMISR 0. Correct? So these are all assigned with our based on our calculation schema and the purchase determination sequence that we give it in the initial screen. So the moment I save it, invalid GUI input data. The moment I save it, it will create a pricing document, and this condition will go and update the VKP0 condition type.
Okay.
Okay, pricing document is created. So this pricing document is nothing but the document that will show that what was used to calculate what margin and all those stuff. So here if you go to VKP2 and you give this article and price overview, you can see what was the price that was saved. Under VKP0 condition type, it is saved and all those stuff. And if you want to see what was the pricing document and all those stuff, you go to VKP1. No, version VKP3. Here, if you take whatever pricing document that was stored, that document will be fetched. In this document, it was stored. So basic purchase price was 10 rupees, net is 10, final price is 11. Clear?
Okay.
And the same thing you can see it in VK13. That is VK11 you are seeing, right? So you go to VKP0, click on condition information, and you can just give and see. So for at this distribution chain level, one price is maintained, and this store level, one price is maintained. Both are same price. Okay, 11. Similarly for this also you can see. Okay, 11. Clear?
Yep.
This is how the sale pricing can be done. So what is the benefit? What actually we can see is, for instance, what is our merchandise category? Let's take meat. I can give meat. Execute. Which merchandise category has lot of articles?
Lot of articles.
Like 1 or 2, 3, something like that.
I don't think any one of them has.
One is trousers or something. So I can simply select this. You got it? So I can fix like this. I can select multiple articles and fix the price like this. That's the advantage of this. Instead of going to VK11 one by one, I need not do it.
Okay, so it is giving the pre-pack also.
Yeah. Now I'm actually picking, it is picking ZDC1, which is wrong. I think we are procuring this item directly from DC, right? So for this, we have not configured the transfer cost. That's why it's not bringing it here. What we should do is we should change the so Cost itself is not maintained. Purchase cost. Do we have any purchase price for this?
For this,
No.
we had for 27, I think.
Okay, you can do this on yourself. Maybe you can try it and see what if you have any doubts. You can maintain the purchase price, then thereafter you can come down and you can maintain and save it.
Okay.
Just try it yourself and let me know if you have any questions in the next class. Okay.
Okay.
Any doubts that you wanted to clarify, or otherwise we can close the call.
Maybe next class I'll have to see the video again.
Okay, not a problem then.
Yeah. For
Okay,
the pricing, release strategy is fine.
Sorry.
No, I'm saying only for the pricing. Release strategy is fine. So there's no questions there.
Okay, fine. Great. Okay, maybe you can look into this via 2 topics and come back in the next class for any doubts. Okay. So
Okay.
at the moment, I'll stop here.
Okay.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
shall see you then next week.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.